As the number of COVID-19 cases increase, so does a lot of the anxiety around this virus. And headlines like this one from the Wall Street Journal not helping. The Journal writing, quote, global viral outbreaks like coronavirus, once rare, will become more common. Here now to talk about that and all of this is a panel of medical experts with us this morning. Dr. Dina Grayson, infectious disease and viral pandemics expert, Dr. Asghar Hussain, an orthopedic surgeon, and Dr. Kevin Campbell, a cardiologist and author of Losing Our Way in Healthcare. Guys, thanks so much for getting up early on a Saturday morning. We appreciate it. Dr. Grayson, we're going to start with you. Do you agree with that headline that we're going to see more of these types of viruses moving around the world?
Unfortunately, I totally agree with that headline. We've already seen numerous viral pandemics in this new millennium. I mean, we've had multiple that people are aware of. We've had SARS, we've had H1N1 swine flu, we've had MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, we've had Zika, we've had dengue fever, and of course now we have this deadly coronavirus. I should also mention we had H5N1 avian flu. Don't forget about that. So as we start encroaching more and more onto the dark jungles of the world, we should expect to see, unfortunately, more and more of these viral pandemics.
Dr. Hussain, I want to go to you. I mean, are we overpopulated? Is that part of the problem? What is it? I mean, if you look at population numbers around the world over the last 50 years, you wouldn't believe how many more people there are than there were just, when our parents were maybe born.
Yeah, well, what I hope to see when all of this is done, I mean, clearly viruses are not going away. And clearly the environment, the genetic environment that we are exposed to is quite complex. Yeah. What I hope to see is that we recognize how transmissible these are and that ultimately we learn something when all is said and done, we can get through this that can help us to develop a rapid global response when this happens again.
Dr. Campbell, same issue to you. What do you make of this? More viruses, more pandemics like this?
I think it's obvious, as our colleagues have said, that this is not the first pandemic we've had in my lifetime and won't be the last. I think really what it argues for me is that we have to do something to put more funding into research to deal with these types of things so that we have a more rapid global response. We're able to develop vaccines more quickly. And for example, the University of North Carolina developed in a microbiology lab a test for COVID-19, yet the red tape in the FDA took an extra 3 weeks to have this commercially available. So I think that, we've got to do a lot more to streamline the way the FDA responds to pandemics like this.
Yeah. Dr. Grayson, back to you. How much do you think these numbers are going to continue to spike here in the United States? Obviously, we're testing more. How bad is this going to get?
Unfortunately, we are on the steep slope of the curve, as I have unfortunately predicted for almost 6 weeks. So we should continue to expect to see an explosion of cases over the next, I would say, at least 4 weeks. So hopefully by then, with these increasing lockdowns, we'll start to see a flattening of the curve. I think everyone's familiar now with what that means.
Sure.
But until we actually lock things down, we are going to continue to see this acceleration of cases.
And sticking with you for just 1 second, when you look at Italy, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And it feels like they've been locked up for at least a few weeks now, close to a month. Should we expect that?
Italy's actually starting to see a flattening of the curve. And likely what happened in Italy is that people were infected at home and infecting other members of the household. But over the past 4 or 5 days, we're starting to see that curve flatten. We are still seeing new cases, but they're not accelerating like they are here in the United States. So think of us as about 10 to 14 days behind Italy.
Sure. Okay, 10 to 14 days behind Italy. That's a good thing to think about if you're trying to plan this. Dr. Hussain, back to you. This chloroquine, this anti-malaria drug, the president was really optimistic about this the last couple of days. What do you think about that?
Well, the data on it's interesting. I think we still have a lot to learn. Clearly, we know we're at the steep end of the curve right now. Many of the physicians in my neighborhood are buying that already, so that tells you where I think this is going to be heading. So I think we don't have enough data. It looks promising. I think there are a lot of people who are talking about it right now, but I think time is going to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Campbell, over to you. I mean, when you think about it, everybody wants to know, when am I going to be able to get out of my house and get back to life that would be some kind of normal? The fear, though, a lot of people have is that even if this thing is starting to flatten out and the cases are going down, the moment that you come back outside and everybody gets back together, they shoot back up. Do you expect that?
Well, I'm hoping that, we do our due diligence as a nation and continue to self-quarantine. We continue to practice social distancing, because I think that, like our colleague said, this is going to peak. We're a couple weeks behind Italy, but I do think we're looking at a situation in our country for the next probably 6 weeks minimum, maybe 8 weeks, where we still need to stay inside. I think that, we've got some potential treatments. And again, these drugs don't treat the disease in terms of cure the disease. They mitigate what the disease does to our bodies and shorten the duration of the disease and also lessen the effects of the disease in certain people. So I think that with those two things together, I think this may tighten up that time window a little bit.
All right, Dr. Grayson, Dr. Hussein, and Dr. Campbell. Guys, thank you so much. We appreciate it.